YouTube, what's going on? So today we are going to be covering Daisy. She's been out for almost a week now, so I've gotten battle reports. We've pulled her, tested, blah blah blah. So we're going to be covering Daisy. What I think her strengths are, her weaknesses, her rating at the very end of the video. I'll give that, so you can just skip all the way if you want. I'll be covering her reconstruction or her Hopeness labs, the best ones that I think you should run, as well as a bunch of different APCs that I think you can run with Daisy. Now, I'm not going to give like the top 5 APCs, I don't think, because Humphrey is going to be, coming out very, very soon. So I think it'll change. So I'm going to wait to do like the top 5 APCs. I'll just give you a bunch of really, really strong APCs currently that are performing really, really well right now. And then once Humphrey comes out and we'll see, then I'll do a top 5 APC. So stay tuned for all of that stuff as well. Anyway, let's just talk about Daisy really briefly. I covered all of her skills previously. I'll have that video linked in the description, or you can check it out on the channel if you haven't yet seen it. So I'm not going to cover those, but the fact that she is a general attribute support right now is really, really strong. It makes her incredibly, incredibly versatile, and I think she'll last in the top meta for quite a while because of it. Now, let's first go into her reconstruction. I'll give you guys my, best options there, and you can choose what to do from there. So basically, she's a support hero. You can run her like any support. I would personally just put group mites on everything, just full group mites. The special ability, efficient treatment, does work because of the fact that she actually does heal. So basically, this just increases the recovery rate. She does end up healing herself. So efficient treatment can work on Daisy, which is something that not a ton of heroes in the meta currently actually can run. You can also run something like preemptive strike, assuming that there isn't the bug still happening with preemptive strike. Maybe it is, don't know. But so in general, just all group mites. You can just run straight up just group mites total. You don't even really need a special ability, or something like preemptive, which is very, very common on all supports, or like an efficient treatment, or really anything from there. As far as the flexibility goes, lessened damage is decent, and there's a good reason why. So generally, your support is never really going to run lessened damage because they're usually just in the middle. They don't really take damage. However, Daisy's 8th ability actually transfers some of the damage that the front row hero takes onto her. So you can run something like lessened damage. It's not the number one, but it is an option if you don't really have too many other available options. What I would run for her flexibility, the top flexibility that I would personally run is going to be Armor Piercer. If you have it broken through and leveled up, Armor Piercer is going to be really, really strong on her. Again, that is kind of like a pay to win, or like a pay wall flexibility. So not everybody is going to have it, but if you do, running it on her is going to be a pretty strong option. Or you can run something like a Legendary Nightmare as well, which usually iFan or like Azure Dart or Hunk or any of those heroes are going to have a Nightmare as well. So that works really, really well. Armor Piercer, Nightmare, those are going to be kind of your two really, really common kind of cookie cutter flexibilities. And then you can run some other ones like lessened damage again. It's not going to be the best, but it works. So that's it for her Hopeness. Again, just group might. Pretty normal support stuff. Full group might, preemptive or efficient treatment, Nightmare, Armor Piercer. Those are kind of your best. I wouldn't really run lessened damage unless you have to, because sometimes your other supports are using the other ones that you have. You know what I mean? So you can't always get the best. Anyway, that's going to be your Hopeness lab. Hopefully it makes sense. It's pretty. Again, it's just pretty normal stuff there with the supports. You can basically just look at your iFan. Whatever your iFan has, you can just put on Daisy, and it's going to be totally fine. So now let's cover some APCs. Like I said, she is a general attribute support, which means she has like a billion APCs that she can run. Pretty much always you're going to put her in the middle. That's just support life. And then troop type, it's really going to depend. So potentially your flexibility, whatever your flexibility has, for example, mine currently, or the one currently on Daisy, has shooters. So if I run her with fighters, I lose a little bit. So that can also play a role in kind of the troop type that you're determining for her. But generally, that's like not really going to make an issue. Anyway, like I said, Wasteland or Outlaw or iFan is kind of like her mirror. Azure, similar thing. Kung Fu, similar thing. Even Hunk, similar thing. Whatever APC those heroes are in, Stardew can basically just replace them. And pretty much you can keep the same troop type, which again, I reiterated it a million times, but it's very, very impactful. So let me give you some interesting APCs that have been popping up a lot recently. So this is one that's proven to be very strong right now. You can run it with full troop types if you want to really maximize that fighter strength and that super killer strength, or you can actually run them both. Since both of these heroes are general attributes, you can actually run them with differing troop types. So again, depending on potentially your flexibility, you're going to want to run one or the other. So like my Daisy, her flexibility is shooters, and you can see when I change the troops, the amount of troops the troop cap or whatever increases. So I would want to run her with the shooters and Maggie with the vehicles, or again just straight up full fighters will be really, really strong. So this is an interesting one that is popping up this season a lot. It's really going to bank on the fact that you have Maggie. Most people don't have Maggie at a usable level, so not too great for the rest of people, I guess. Again, you can replace Hunk, and so you can do something like this. This works. It's decent. The thing is, Hunk is kind of a free hero to have. Since Hunk really doesn't have any other role to play, he's sort of a free hero to just keep in this combination or in similar combinations. So generally, I don't suggest replacing Hunk with Stardew, just because you can actually use Stardew in other combos. So those are some ones with Super Killer. Obviously, Super Killer can basically run with anybody, so even something like this is going to work to a certain degree. Here's the troop types that you'd want, or any other real combination. Now, getting into some other ones, we have this classic combination here. This is the troop types that you're going to want to run. So basically, you're replacing iFan with Stardew. Works really, really, really well. Basically the same, if not maybe slightly better than the iFan combination. So this works great. You can also then use iFan as a support in other combos as well. Or even something like this, which is kind of like I just showed previously, but you can actually run full shooters. So this is an interesting one. Generally in the past, you would always run this with Azure, but Azure is required to have vehicles. So this actually boosts the APC quite a bit because they can all be shooters. So this is something that I'll continue to, test out, I guess. Yeah. However, a lot of people still run kind of this with Azure. This combination instead, Stardew, you can use her. You can replace Azure at any time with Stardew, and it's going to work quite well. Something to keep in mind is Raven right now actually had a new skin. Again, I'll be talking about this later in the top 5 APCs, but this APC is kind of coming back as potentially the strongest in the game because of Raven's new skin. So it's kind of like a 1A, 1B with Super Killer before. He's actually beating Super Killer a lot. So sometimes you'll just be seeing this with Raven. However, if you don't want to do that, running this combination, is totally fine. You can run something like this, or whatever you want to run. It doesn't really matter to me. Again, you can run something like this with full shooters. It's doing pretty dang well. I think those are most of the combos, at least I've shown a bunch of them. Again, if you're pretty far behind and you're still running something with like an Angel, that's totally fine. Like if you don't have Raven or Super Killer, you don't have one or the other, and you're still running something like an Angel, that it's not a big deal. It's going to work pretty well regardless. So she has tons and tons and tons of APCs. You can play around with whatever you want, honestly. People are doing a lot of different stuff. It's working out very, very well. The one that I personally would be running right now, assuming you have Maggie, is this. I think it works really well because then you can run the Raven with Honk and Thunderbolt. However, if you don't have that, it's totally chill. You can basically just do the mech pilot Annie. It's going to work great. Troop types aside. There we go. So yeah, those are kind of the options that I would go through right now. I actually kind of do still think when Humphrey comes out, I think we'll have something like this. Humphrey is the troop type that you would want. Just imagine Humphrey is in here. I think this might kind of become the Daisy APC. I guess we'll really see in a week. It's just speculation at this point. So anyway, those are a bunch of APCs for Daisy. You can really put any. They're all really, really good. Daisy doesn't make your APC like insanely strong. She's not really making one like standout APC. I'm not hoping necessarily, but potentially that Fallen Raven Daisy Humphrey one, maybe, I don't know. But right now, it's not really making any APC like that much stronger. For example, the Annie IFAN mech pilot, it sort of has the same strength whether you have IFAN or Daisy. It's not really going to be that much different or like that much stronger. So that's just one thing to keep in mind with Daisy. If you already have a bunch of these supports, like you have Azure, you have Maggie, you have IFAN, everybody, you have all the heroes, Daisy doesn't give you a huge increase. We're still pretty much using the tuner APC, unfortunately. Maybe that will be changing with Humphrey though. So for now, that's kind of it. So let me give a rating on an overall, just straight up rating on Daisy. I think she's very, very, very good. Because of her general attributes, I think she'll last for a very long time, just like Retro did previously. She has a lot that complements everybody. She heals, damage reduction, she does damage. She kind of does a little bit of everything. I don't see the meta shifting that drastically. And I even think with Humphrey, Daisy might even be better, maybe. Not sure. So I think she'll have a role to play for a very long time. So I think it's a safe bet to pull her. I'll probably give her a 4 out of 5. The only reason it's not higher is just because she's not really making like one APC just unstoppable. But she is very, very, very good. If you don't have Azure, and so the biggest question that I get all the time is, should I pull Daisy or Humphrey? It's obviously almost impossible to actually tell you without having Humphrey on every base and having all the testing and going through a week of Humphrey. I wish they kind of released both heroes at the same time and you could like pick the pool. I think that would be a much better option. So like, you know, you pulled 1,000 tickets for Daisy on day 1, 1,000 tickets for Humphrey on day 2, or you pick one or the other. I kind of wish that was the strategy that they do moving forward. So it's easier to judge. Obviously, they don't want to do that because, you know, they make more money on the fact that, oh, you picked the wrong one every season or whatever. If you don't have Azure, because she is an SP hero, I would say Daisy's a really, really good bet. Again, I don't know how Humphrey is going to perform. If you have all of the other supports, you have Maggie, you have Azure, you have IFAN, blah, blah, blah. Daisy isn't really going to have that much impact yet. So that's just the only really thing to consider. If you have all of the heroes and you can only pick one, maybe save up for Humphrey. I'm not sure. Daisy is always going to be a good option to snatch up though. But again, a support doesn't make you go from weak to strong or medium to strong. That's never going to happen. So those are just my recommendations for you. Anyway, guys, once Humphrey comes out, I'm excited. Maybe metas will change. Maybe APCs will change. Things will happen. I'll do another video just like this for specifically Humphrey, and then we'll do the top 5 videos and things like that after. So a lot of hero content coming. Let me know what you guys think of Daisy. Let me know what APC in particular that you're using. I'd love to know. Love to see what the community is doing. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.